And Joe, you'll let me know when all members of the
Yes.
team are here, when we can get started. We're waiting for our folks to,
Waiting for Dom.
There we go.
I'm right here.
yes. Stanford here, Scott,
Dr. Wallington.
Dr. Watlington.
DC Stanford.
Where's Thompson Fire here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And our amazing volunteer, our partners are here.
Our partners are here.
Mike
Thank you,
Carroll
thank
coming
you,
in.
thank you. Just move over a little bit. All right.
I believe we are ready now.
Let me start by saying good evening, everyone. This is Saturday, February 21st, and we are gathered here today because, like many of you, we all really tried to enjoy this nearly 50-degree temperatures that Mother Nature blessed us with today. If that was really starting to help thaw us out from the last storm, but Mother Nature has spoken again and made it clear that winter is not over yet. Another big winter storm is coming our way. And Philadelphia, we are gathered here today with leaders of the Parker administration, along with our intergovernmental partners, to affirm to you that we will be ready for it. I want to begin by thanking all of our city agency leaders and intergovernmental partners who are here today as a part of our One Philly response to ensuring that residents are safe during this snow emergency. I have been fully briefed by our partner agencies, including the National Weather Service, that Dom, you'll hear from him a little later about those specifics, but I can affirm that we are looking at all kinds of forecasts, doing our due diligence, and what we know is this, Philadelphia, it's a major snowstorm with real accumulations anticipated, and it is heading our way. Our streets department and city agencies are mobilizing right now to ensure that our primary, secondary, and tertiary roads, that they remain passable and our emergency access is protected. You're going to hear more about our administration's detailed plans to fight the major storm shortly, but I want to affirm that our Clean and Green Director, Carlton Williams, who, Carlton, every time, Director Williams, we think about you and your efforts here, I begin to take a stroll through your history with the city of Philadelphia, and your leadership at LNI, the streets department, Parks and Rec, and I want you to know I am grateful for your leadership, and we thank you for the amazing job that you are doing here for the city. At the height of this weather event, Philadelphia, more than 1,000 personnel and over 800 pieces of equipment will be deployed across our city. We checked and we have, did you say about 25,000 tons of salt that's on reserve? So I want to be very clear. We will do whatever it takes, however long it takes. We will do whatever it takes, however long it takes, to ensure that we have cleared our streets and we are keeping Philadelphians safe. We're going to use every tactic and every strategy necessary to clear our streets as swiftly and efficiently as we possibly can. While the storm will begin as light precipitation Sunday morning, because I was anxious to know, like, what are we to expect? They said snowfall rates could intensify to as much as 2 inches per hour later in the day. And once it strengthens, conditions will deteriorate very quickly. So based on that forecast, Philadelphia, I have officially declared a snow emergency for the city of Philadelphia that will take effect at 4 p.m. on Sunday, February the 22nd here in Philadelphia. There are 110 miles of snow emergency routes here in Philadelphia, and these routes must be clear when there's a winter storm so that our snow plows can pass through. Now is the time to plan to move your vehicle to avoid the risk of being towed, and quite frankly, to help do your part, employing that one Philly spirit that we've talked about, in helping us to ensure that our roads are ready for what's ahead. And speaking of being prepared, as we were in our pre-briefing before coming into the presser, I want to acknowledge to you publicly what I've said to them, and that is thank you. That's our police, fire, street, sanitation, our managing director's office, SEPTA, and so many other critical agencies and institutions. Why? Because the intergovernmental collaboration that you see us focused on, it is essential in our efforts to operate on a daily basis, but when we have a crisis in particular. So our Deputy Managing Director, Morales, he is going to join us, and he's going to give us an overview of our emergency management posture and how we are working with these teams to prepare. We're going to hear from our Superintendent of Public Schools, Dr. Tony Watlington. He will give us the updates on the school district of Philadelphia's plans. But I can affirm that on behalf of the city of Philadelphia, the snow emergency takes effect tomorrow at 4 p.m. and the city of Philadelphia proper will be closed on Monday. In addition to that, we have been in very close communication with our partners in the 1st Judicial District, and I want to say thank you to our judicial leaders. The courts will be closed on Monday as well. So that is the city of Philadelphia and the courts have already made a decision to close under the guise of public safety so that we can ensure that our streets are clear, and you're going to hear from Dr. Watlington in a second. What is our priority? It's clear: safety, coordination, and staying ahead of this storm to the best of our ability, and we're going to do everything that we possibly can to keep you safe. We're now going to hear from our director, Carlton Williams, and then our emergency management director, Dom. Thank you, Carlton.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. And before I begin, I certainly want to thank our mayor for her continued leadership, especially in times of crisis. We appreciate not only her leadership, but her support and confidence in our ability to get our city working and moving again. My name is Carlton Williams, and I'm the Director of Clean and Green Initiatives for the City of Philadelphia, and I want to provide you with a detailed update on our plans to fight this storm, which I don't believe it's been named yet, but ultimately it's going to be a big one, and we're going to be ready for it. We're expecting somewhere between 12 to 18 inches of snow, and given the amount of accumulation that we're going to have to fight, it's going to take an all-hands-on-deck approach, and we've been working with departmental, intergovernmental agencies and external partners to deliver the service that our citizens deserve. Certainly, we are looking at the additional 1,000 city employees with 800 pieces of equipment, and that equipment ranges from front-end loaders to skid steers, or what we call bobcats, to all different types of plow trucks, from pickups to front-end loaders. And so these are the things that we're going to utilize to move this amount of snow and as quickly as possible. As part of the mayor's vision for clean and green and safe streets, we are addressing not only primary and secondary, but residential streets. One of the things that I want to implore for our residents to do in order for us to get to those locations is going to take us some time. So I'm asking for your patience as we work to navigate through all our tight streets in those areas. You'll hear from some of the tips. Please watch your parking. You know it's a snow emergency, so please do not park on those routes. We are going to ensure that those areas are cleaned out as quickly as possible. In addition, in our residential community and neighborhoods, in order for us to do an effective job, we cannot have cars parked illegally on corners and blocking our equipment from getting access to those locations. It slows down the process. So I'm going to ask again for the public support and cooperation and patience as we work through these areas as well. One of the things that we also want to highlight is that last time we brought in one melter. Given the volume and the amount of accumulations we're expecting, we have now secured two melters that will be strategically placed in areas of the city closest to residential locations where we simply can't just plow the snow, that we have to lift it out. We also maximize many of the previous locations. As you can recall, we had 30 locations there that we were using throughout the city of Philadelphia to pile snow. Many of those areas are either at capacity or near capacity. So we have bought in additional melters, and we're prepared to bring in a third melter if necessary, and to work and continuously address those areas where we have higher levels of accumulation in tight, narrow streets where we don't have the capacity to store it. Our goals is to make roadways as passable and safe as quickly as possible, and no matter how long it takes. But we're going to continue to work around the clock with our crews led by our city union workforce. We're going to work closely with not only our city workforce, but our contractors who are prepared to address those issues. We're going to also have them come in earlier in those locations where we're going to get higher levels of accumulations, especially in those small, tighter knit communities. The second area that we want to be able to focus on in this storm is our pedestrian walkways and so ADA ramps, SEPTA transit stops that we talked about earlier, and especially around schools, because we want to make sure we get our children safely to school as quickly as possible. You'll hear from Dr. Watlington and our plans for the school district later, but our goal as the department and the city responsible for it is they still have to travel to get there. And so we have to make sure that those pedestrian locations are clear and passable for not only our school students, but Americans with disabilities as well. So we'll be clearing ADA ramps. I want to remind the public and property owners that you still have a responsibility to clear those areas as well, and we'll talk about the public's role in that and helping us get through this as quickly as possible. Some of the things that we also are impacted by are services, trash and recycling collections, because our sanitation division will be joining this deployment. Over 170 vehicles will be assigned from sanitation mounted with plows. We believe that they will be utilized in multiple days. And so trash and recycling for Monday and Tuesday will be delayed on a 2-day delay. So instead of having your trash picked up on Monday and Tuesday will picked up Wednesday and Thursday, and the sequence will follow for the remainder of the week. We'll continue to work those areas until all trash and recycling collections is picked up in service. I also have to remind people about driveway collections, because we do not plow out driveways. It makes it difficult for our trucks to navigate those areas. There will be no driveway collections for this week. We will be making that announcement later on a week-to-week basis, but for the remainder of this week, all driveway collections are suspended. We want to remind people also some of the key things that we always state. Number one, please don't go out into this weather if you don't have to. That is important. Number two, if you do have to go out, pay close attention to the speed limits, especially if you're traveling on our interstates. I know PennDOT will likely set limits. Pay attention to those limits because ultimately your life is very important to everyone. And so making sure public safety is a top priority. Second, when you're shoveling out your walkways, and which you're required to do so 6 hours after the storm ends, please do not shovel it back into the streets. This slows our crews down and creates ice mounds and ultimately creates challenges for us to be able to clear the block completely. We also want to remind people that it's important when you call, we want you to call 311. The 311 service will be open. However, I have to remind people, we will still be operating in a storm and clearing routes. We're asking people when they call in to expect delays until after we're finished cleaning the entire route and the operation. And that's important because ultimately we're still plowing in this. It'll take several runs for us to be able to clear streets throughout the city of Philadelphia, and we may not have gotten to your location yet. So when you call 311, understand that we'll be servicing those complaints shortly after the storm has ended. And one of the things that we also want to stress in the Parker administration is transparency. We want residents to understand where we are at any given time in an event. We do have a tool and a website, and I'm happy to say, Mayor, that over 52,000 people utilize streetsmartphl.gov, and I'm going to give you the information so that you can log on. This tool allows us to be able to look at in real time where our plows are working in the city of Philadelphia. And so I'm going to give you the website so that we can make sure people have access to it. It's www.streetsmartphl.phila.gov. You can log on there and determine on the day of when a plow has come through your location and route. And I want to thank those residents who utilized that service, because then they were able to see where we were at any given time in a snowstorm, and that was helping out with communication. That's extremely important. Those are our updates, and I'm going to turn it over to Don Morales, who is our Director of the Office of Emergency Management, who can give you the latest update on forecasts and certainly our response to this storm. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, thank you. Thank you, Director. As stated, I'm Dominic Morales, the city's emergency management coordinator and also deputy managing director for community safety. The forecast is calling for a dangerous storm. It is not only dangerous because of the amount of snowfall that is being forecast in about a 24-hour period, but it's also dangerous because of the high winds and, for Philadelphia, near blizzard conditions. Just to our east, there are blizzard warnings, not here for the city of Philadelphia, but we're right next to it, and so near blizzard conditions. So that's not just snowfall, which is characterized as being heavy and wet by the forecasters, but it's also the high winds, which threatens our trees, threatens our power lines, and moves any snow while it's out there. Snowfall rates of 2 inches per hour are whiteout conditions on their own, let alone with blowing conditions. So when this storm picks up, we have to take it seriously. I'm here on behalf of the Managing Director's Office, and I'm glad to be here to represent more than 24 units responsible for delivering all types of city services during any weather emergency. Our mission is clear: to support the snow fighting operation and to ensure that public safety, human services, and other infrastructure services remain operational regardless of the conditions. To ensure all of those services remain at the highest readiness, we've finished our preparedness tasks throughout today as a part of the city's citywide winter weather plan. Earlier today, more than 150 leaders from city agencies, state agencies, regional agencies, the partners you see here, coordinated for more than 80 minutes through our final check meeting to make sure that we had the most updated forecasts, of which we rely on 2 forecasts to make sure that we have the best information and to make sure that we are prepared. Tomorrow, in line with the snow emergency, the city's Emergency Operations Center will go to a full 24/7 around-the-clock activation beginning at 4 p.m. That is the city's hub to coordinate public safety, transportation, human services, and other infrastructure challenges that we may encounter, and to ensure that we are communicating updates in real time. We as a city agency are ready to deliver those essential services. Our professionals are ready for the call. We are ready to take 911 calls. Tomorrow as well, due to the forecasted cold, the city's Office of Homeless Services will institute a code blue at 3 p.m. This is a code blue that will bring on increased shelter bed space and also increased outreach. The enhanced portion of code blue is not going into effect at 3 p.m. That will be determined based on the duration that we are dealing with this storm and dealing with the persistent cold. And so what I mean is we are not activating libraries and rec centers because we currently have the capacity within that shelter system and within that outreach system to handle what we see right now. More information about the code blue will be on the city's website tomorrow. If you come across a downed tree in this storm, call us. Our professionals are ready to take that call. If you come across unsafe buildings, call 911. The fire department will respond, and license and inspections and emergency responders will be shortly behind them. If you come across a water emergency, call the Philadelphia Water Department emergency line. Our professionals are ready for that call. Call 311. It'll be open throughout the storm. Call 911. We have been working to put contingencies in to make sure that staff are here, that they're supported when they're here, and that we can get them where they need to be throughout this storm. On behalf of the Office of Emergency Management, a couple preparedness tips for all of us. 3 things. First, stay connected to information, especially as conditions may change. Sign up for emergency alerts, free emergency texts and emails. You can sign up by texting the word READY PHILA to the number 888777. That is READYPHILA to 888777. Also, follow www.phila.gov. All of the city's updated information about this storm will be in a banner on the top of that website. Tip number 2, very specifically because they're forecasting heavy, wet snow, take care of yourself and take it easy. Time and again, the emergency responses that we see in a storm like this are folks overexerting themselves trying to do snow removal. We know we need to get that snow removed. We know we have a goal of getting it removed within a certain time after the storm, but your safety and your health comes first. We talk about being neighbors every time we're up here. You know who on your block needs help. You know who on your block just got back from medical procedure or maybe looking for something. This is the time and this is the storm to look out for one another and take care of yourselves. And the last thing, but still related, is to be mindful of all of the dangers during this extreme weather. Travel will be affected. There will be, at times, blinding, blowing snow. Avoid it by not getting in the car and rearranging your schedule as best as possible. There is a potential for loss of power, loss of heat, loss of water, and other emergencies in your home. So, take some time tonight, tomorrow, research safe ways, charge your things ahead of time, have some additional water, shelf-stable food, learn safe ways to heat your home if you do experience a loss of any of those utilities. And again, look out for vulnerable neighbors and pets. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And with that, introduce our
You said
superintendent.
something the last time we were here that resonated with some folks. You gave some supermarket advice.
Yes.
And it was important.
And you know, a couple folks back here already sent me pictures earlier today, Madam Mayor. Folks are preparing. We do not see bare shelves, which is good, but we are seeing our supermarkets, our supply chain prepared for this storm. They plussed up, they put it right in front of the door where you walk in, and we're seeing folks get those items so that they're not having to travel tomorrow night. They're taking care of refilling prescriptions yesterday and today. They're doing everything they possibly need to do so that they're not only not on the road tomorrow, Sunday, but depending how Monday looks, if they need to hunker down into Monday, you're prepared to do that as well. And again, this isn't go and take 10 of everything because you don't know when it's going to be resupplied. It's take care of yourself for 3 days, Madam Mayor. 3 days.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Watley?
All right. All right. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. I thought it was just in the South that you had to make that announcement. Don't go in the grocery stores and take everything. Madam Mayor, in the School District of Philadelphia, our number one priority is always the safety and well-being of our students and staff. And to the extent possible, we always try to keep our young people in-person learning as opposed to virtual learning, because we learned in the pandemic that we learn a bit more in-person learning than virtual learning. That said, given the forecast, Madam Mayor, will align with the city, and the School District of Philadelphia will be closed for all schools, as well as the Dr. Constance E. Clayton Education Center. All after-school activities, professional development activities, and the like will be canceled. Individuals who are part of our emergency special response teams will be notified, essential employees will be notified by their immediate supervisors with reporting instructions. Finally, I want to note that every year, Madam Mayor, we build in one additional school day beyond what the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania requires, which is 180 days. And we do that so that on the first snow event of the winter, we can allow all of our students and families to enjoy one fun snow day. We've exhausted that one fun snow. It's over, Madam Mayor. And so we on Monday we'll move to virtual learning, and so I won't have to have a lecture from Commissioner Bethel about any kind of snowball fights or anything like that. We sent Chromebooks home with all students on Friday, Madam Mayor. Want to remind students to keep those charged up, and let's keep pushing hard, stay focused, students, so that we can continue on our path to being the fastest improving large urban school district in the nation. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Watley.
I don't seem to be able to get your current location. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Every storm is different, and this one will be different than the last one. But nonetheless, SEPTA is ready to activate its winter storm plan for tomorrow and into Monday. Our goal will be to operate as much service as is possible for as long as it is safe to do so. All the while, we have to carefully consider how our decisions during the storm could impact recovery when recovery is able to happen. So we want to be as ready as possible once the city and region need to go back to normal. We're putting all of our resources, all the resources possible into the battle against the storm, starting with pre-treatment today and tomorrow, making sure that all of our infrastructure is ready to go for when the storm occurs. Our command center will be activated tomorrow and remain open around the clock throughout the duration of the storm. This brings all of our key decision makers together to closely track conditions and assess when adjustments need to be made. We'll have crews positioned throughout the system to respond to any emergencies such as down wires, trees, or track conditions. Transportation managers will be deployed throughout the bus network to stay on top of road conditions and make adjustments when they're needed. Track inspectors will be dispatched across the 5-county service area to perform checks on the rail system. We, Madam Mayor, also have lots of salt. We have 4,000 tons of salt for ourselves to treat station areas such as stairs, platforms, and walkways, as well as parking lots. We'll deploy dozens of blowers, snow throwers, augers, and other pieces of heavy equipment to clear tracks and other critical areas throughout the system. And while these efforts will put us in the best position possible, I want to be clear with our riders. This is going to be a major storm event. There are going to be significant disruptions to service all throughout the duration. That's going to include delays, trip cancellations, and even likely shutdowns of entire routes or services. Through close monitoring conditions, our personnel in the command center and in the field will be able to take a proactive approach and suspend services before conditions become unsafe for riders or employees. It is our intent to give ample notice to customers before we suspend any service, although conditions may require sooner suspensions. This also greatly reduces the chances that our buses and trains will get stranded or damaged. We can get our vehicles back to the shops and yards out of harm's way so that we are in a better position to recover when the storm subsides. Those recovery efforts factor into everything we do because we know that people still have to get to work. They have to get to school when school reopens, and of course, doctor's appointments and other travel. We want to be committed to working around the clock to get service restored. However, we know that we can keep some things running. We still have essential employees, healthcare, and other services that have to be transported. So we will make sure that those services continue. We have nearly 300 stations and 300 parking lots to treat. We'll get to all of it. However, it's going to take some time. The expected severity of the storm also increases that level of difficulty. We'll make sure that our employees get to work safely and remain safe in these extreme conditions. The bigger the storm, the more challenging the recovery process. The bottom line is travel will be difficult over the next couple days, and we're urging everyone to plan ahead. If you don't have to travel, don't. Stay home, stay safe and warm. For essential workers and others who have to ride, the best options, of course, are our Broad Street line and our Market Frankford line. In the last storm, we were able to keep the Broad Street and Market Frankford lines running throughout the duration of the storm. We never missed a beat. We were able to keep those services operational. If you do ride the buses, regional rail, or trolleys, please make sure you check on the status. While we did have to suspend service on regional rail at one point, and we suspended many of our bus routes, we did work hand in glove with the city. We were able to get all the bus routes back, but for about a half dozen in just a couple days, and got the entire system back by the end of that week. So really great coordination we've been able to maintain with the city of Philadelphia, with the directors, troops out there getting streets cleared. However, your best resource to check on our services, of course, is our website, SEPTA.org. Bookmark the alerts page. That's going to have real-time updates for all of our services. You can also call our customer service line at 215-580-7800. We'll bolster staffing and extend hours, but call volume will be heavy. Last, of course, I just want to reiterate, this is going to be near blizzard conditions, as Dominic said. Please be safe out there, plan ahead, plan for disruptions to your travel. Just like any automobile, our buses are going to struggle in these conditions. Our rails, while certainly more reliable, will also struggle as switches and overhead wires become affected by the storm. So please make sure you check ahead and plan your travel. Thank you.
just to reiterate some things that have already been mentioned, as you've heard, again, 4 p.m. is the snow emergency time for the city of Philadelphia, and staying off of the roads is so crucial to the entire process, and just important to your safety. And so can't reiterate that enough. Stay at home if you do not need to be out on the roadways. The same thing with making sure that your vehicles are removed from all of the snow emergency routes. Again, look up where you park and you see that white and red sign that says snow emergency route. That means your vehicle is not supposed to be parked there. You don't have to wait until 4 p.m. tomorrow to start moving those cars. Start that process today. Start looking for where you're going to place your vehicle, so that we can continue the operation as successfully as possible. Your vehicle will be ticketed and towed, and nobody needs that in this situation. And so, again, just move your vehicle out of the way as soon as possible. Calling 911 for all emergencies, you've heard that already, but it's critical to not call 911 if you have a utility emergency where you can utilize those utility numbers. But obviously, if you have an emergency, call 911. Also utilize 311, as has already been stated here today. Make sure you check on your neighbors, just reiterating that. Also a good time to assist each other in shoveling. With that being said, you cannot save parking spots. We know that it's a lot of work goes into shoveling out those parking spots, and it's understandable that, you put a lot of work in that and you anticipate your parking spot to remain there. Be good neighbors. Be smart about what you do. We initiated a campaign about 10 years ago called No Savesies. Again, you can't save parking spots. It's illegal. If we are called to a location for any cones, chairs, any other items that are out there, we will remove them. And so just be smart about what you're doing. It's not worth anyone getting into arguments or losing your life over a parking spot. Just be wise about that. Help each other out, and just make sure that you're checking on each other in the way you need to be. We will continue collaboration with all city partners. You heard Madam Mayor already addressed that. Collaboration is key in making sure that we have a successful operation. But 911 will be up. We look for minimal disruption to services. And so if you need us, you call and we will come. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Good evening, everyone. I simply want to reiterate what Deputy Commissioner Stanford said. 911 services will be available. We will respond to every single 911 call, as we always do. This snow may slow us down just a tad bit, but we will be there. Be patient. And while I'm here, I want to mention, be careful. I want to provide a couple of fire safety tips. First and foremost, as always, make sure you have working smoke alarms. Sometimes people think that this will not happen to them, but it's better to be safe than to be sorry. So make sure you have a working smoke alarm. Also, if you're cooking, make sure that you pay attention to your cooking. Be present while you are cooking. Plan ahead. If we think that there may be a power outage, take the time now to charge your devices. Consider using flashlights instead of candles, and do all that you can to be safe and ensure that your neighbors are safe as well. But most importantly, we will be the fire department, police department. We will be out there to respond to every single 911 emergency call that may come. Be safe, Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. And again, I just want to affirm for residents in the city of Philadelphia, you know that the city of Philadelphia proper is closed on Monday, but all of those employees who are essential workers, and you know who you are, they will be receiving direct communication from their supervisors and the respective departments. Our partners over at the First Judicial District, they too, for their general operations, the courts will be closed on Monday. Dr. Watlington just affirmed that the school district of Philadelphia will be virtually learning. And since we use that, Dr. Watlington, all I could think was, you have a pass or a coin, and you use that coin. So, we are virtual. I also want to affirm that the Philadelphia International Airport, right now, they are operating as planned and scheduled. If you have any questions or concerns about whether or not there are any flight cancellations, we want you to feel free to check your respective airlines website, because they are running like an up-to-date schedules for all of the respective airlines here in the city of Philadelphia. What I also wanted to affirm, and Scott when you were speaking, I was thinking about how essential it is for us to be here and for there to be one central place for you to get this information and to hear from all of us. I want you to know we are very intentional. The courts, the school district, SEPTA, the utilities. Dom, you mentioned over 80 partners, right? Well, no, how many partners did you say?
155 people.
155 people on their calls when they gather on a daily basis. Director Williams, you said over 1,000 employees? That's correct. Over 1,000 employees, 800 pieces of equipment, 2 snow melters, and potentially another one on the way. So Philadelphia, we are doing our best to be prepared. We will do everything that we can as long as it takes to make sure that we put your public health and safety first, and that we clear our streets so we make them walkable, drivable, and passable, no matter how you travel in the city of Philadelphia. I want to close by saying a special thank you to all of our City of Philadelphia employees. Rest assured, when our city gets to working in the midst of an emergency to help us get out of an emergency, please know that we know our city works because you work. And we are very, very clear about that. We appreciate you, our 1,000 employees, along with all of our contractors. Everyone is ready and hands on deck. I want to thank you, Director Williams, and the entire team, my Chief of Staff, Tiffany Thurman, Chief Deputy Mayor Vanessa Garrett Harley, for gathering earlier today with our leaders here in the city of Philadelphia, our labor leaders, to just do some level setting and communication about what we are to expect, and to ensure that everyone is on the same page and or informed. Dom, you talked about making sure that Philadelphia is getting their information from where? The website, what's that website again?
Absolutely. So the city's website, you go to phila.gov, you search for City of Philadelphia in your search bar, it'll take you to our homepage. There's a banner that will have all of these services, all of these updates, to include things like I might have forgotten to mention, which is the parking authority, ma'am, offering $5 flat rate parking beginning at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Again, you don't have to wait till 4 p.m. And so that'll be www.phila.gov. And if you'd like a text message from us, if you want real-time information if it changes, you can text that Ready Phila word to 888-777.
Thank you so much. And Director Williams, I have to ask you this, because for me, I don't know that as many Philadelphians that we would like to see take advantage of the tool that we have employed to encourage transparency throughout this process, so that when we say primary, secondary, and tertiary roads are our priority, I want to know. Somebody can go online and say anything, but I just want Philadelphians, this is important to me as your mayor, that you know that there's a way that you can see what the city's progress is like as we're going through on a daily basis on what streets we have gotten to, and then talk about how that's repopulated, so that we're being very transparent about our activity.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. And to clarify what we stated earlier, if you want to know when the last time your street was plowed during the storm and the day of the storm, you can log on to our website at www.streetsmartphl.phila.gov. That website will show you in real time where our plows are working and those locations and areas that we've already touched. So if you want to know when the last time a plow has gone through your block, you can click on the link. In real time, it will show you the date, the time, and when that plow went through in 6-hour increments. So 0 to 6 hours, 6 to 12 hours, or 12 to 18 hours. Now, one of the things, and we're going to improve that system in the future, Mayor, is that it does refresh. So if what you see on Sunday, you won't see again on that Monday. I want to make that very clear. You'll see where we are on Monday's operation. We are working to make sure that we try to capture that data throughout the entire storm, but because what we have in place right now is a real-time system that allows us to be able to capture that data while we're working on that specific day.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Now we want to make sure that we answer any questions you may have. No questions. No, here's one. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Say your name and your agency. I'm Madeline Wright from CBS News Philadelphia.
CBS.
After the January 25th storm, what lessons has the city learned, and how are those lessons shaping your response to this storm?
So let me just affirm, as mayor of the city, you know, you hear me talk a lot about this one Philly approach. Somebody said to me, "You one Philly everything, Cherelle Parker." You're absolutely right, because we have to work together in order to be successful in any operation. So for Director Williams and Dom in our Office of Emergency Management to make sure that all of our employees, along with all of our contractors and all of our stakeholders, that everyone is sort of moving in the same direction and moving as efficiently and effectively as we possibly can. A lesson for me was to make sure that I have communicated, which is why you heard me just say, Director Williams, can you reinforce this, that we have a vehicle that Philadelphians can employ to see our progress in real time. Now, this is what I also learned. You want to know what I learned? No matter how amazing of a communications department we have in the city of Philadelphia, that folks will still see a post on, you know, any social media outlet, and they may not have, you know, considered the source of the information. I also didn't know, you want to know what I learned? I didn't know there were so many deep fakes that were developed. I literally saw during the last storm, Director Williams, I don't know if you and Commissioner Shipman and Del Rossi saw this, but they had a fake City of Philadelphia post saying that we were giving away salt. No, I'm serious, that we had salt. We were talking about the counties around us had a shortage of salt. Remember, Dom, you had just talked about how ships, the water, it was frozen. They couldn't get through, so our salt was delayed. But, you know, someone literally put up a post saying, well, the city of Philadelphia is giving salt free, and they had these multiple locations. And I thought to myself, like, it's insane. Like, who would do that, in their city? So I don't know. So you asked me, what did I know? I learned that people have the capacity and think it's humorous to do things like that. But it's not funny to me. So I'm hoping that the residents of the city of Philadelphia, they will communicate using the information vehicles that we proffer as a city. We're going to continue to use access to every resource and every tool in our toolbox. And how long is it going to take? As long as it takes in order to clear the streets, primary, secondary, and tertiary roads. And we don't apologize for trying to ensure that we get to all of those streets. But I'm also not going to say, you know, these streets are going to be cleared. I mean, people wanted me to say that they were going to be cleared in 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours. Dom, how long had it been since the city of Philadelphia had endured that many days of sub-freezing temperatures here in our city? How long had it been?
Yeah, so that's a great point, Madam Mayor. The last storm, we really hadn't experienced those conditions in about 30 years, to answer your question. The period of extreme cold, the type of precipitation with how it started, with how it ended, which encased the snow that was here, and then froze solid. And so it's not to say that this storm's going to be different, because we won't know that until we're past it, frankly. But it is to say we fought a very challenging storm in January. We turned out every possible service that we possibly could and more. So we're proud to say that this is now the second time in the city's history that we brought a melter in, because that storm was the first time.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, to say we've carried those lessons and those strategies forward is absolutely true, and it's a different storm. And so, Madam Mayor, thank you for the grace for everybody up here, that it's going to take as long as it takes, because as you know, ma'am, we are doing everything we possibly can. We're ready. We're ready to go take a nap tonight before it's time tomorrow, but we're ready, ma'am.
Thank you. No, that was a great question, and I appreciate that, because we constantly evolving and learning. And I thank you for that question.
Hi, Jeff from Fox 29.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, back off that question, back in January, I think there were over 1,200 complaints to the 311 number about the streets and the plows. other than the melters, are you doing anything different to kind of like up the ante as far as to, you know, combat the storm and clear the streets and address those concerns? and complaints?
Let the technician respond here.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you, and thank you, Madeline, for your question as well. So piggybacking off of that statement, every storm is very different, and this storm will offer new challenges. But that previous storm, you know, what we learned is that you can't move ice right away, right? So you gotta use techniques and strategies to be able to address that. And in all seriousness, that was a very challenging storm. Although we may not get as much accumulation as we get tomorrow, and we don't know what yet, but having a storm where you had to fight ice and rain and cold temperatures, and you had a freezing river that couldn't get the salt to us, and all of these different challenges that people don't see and hear about on social media that we have to deal with to get our streets open. You know, those are the things that we learned, right? We learned how to move forward. We also learned that we can improve. And so Commissioner Shipman and her team know that it's easier to use equipment rather than use shovels. So we've invested in snow blowers to clear lanes so that we can get through ADA ramps quicker. So we're doing things different. We learn from each storm, and ultimately we try to improve the level of service so that we can deliver what our citizens expect, which is, you know, definitely hard work and service. And the last thing what we learned is that our employees are resilient. They've been working tremendously, not only through these storms, but throughout the entire winter, fighting these type of emergencies. So I want to make sure that we acknowledge them for that as well. Thank you.
You mentioned that there are 30 snow dumping sites approximately that are, and many of them are at or near capacity, which is why I'm bringing in the second melter. What happens if those dumping sites max out, and have you, or has the city identified additional dumping sites?
Yes, great question. We're working to identify other locations, but we're going to use those melters to the maximum of efficiency possible. We're going to not only use it to clear streets, but we're going to start clearing those locations so that we can, if needed, we can still utilize those areas. So we're going to be multitasking with those melters. They're going to get a lot more use than they did from the previous storm. So we're hoping to be able to free up some space, clear locations, make sure intersections aren't clogged with large snow piles so that we can utilize the system.
Kelsey, just a question for you. What would be your message to people about that response time to getting the streets plowed and the city back to normal?
And is that to know that we are doing everything that we possibly can to ensure the public health and safety of the city of Philadelphia. And our goal is to ensure that every block, every street, every road in the city of Philadelphia is free and clear of ice and snow, so that no matter what your mode of transportation is, you can move effectively in the city of Philadelphia. And we're going to do everything that we can to make that possible. You're in my mind. There is one thing that I will tell you I learned. I learned that I was probably the only person in the world who didn't know about what I'm about to describe to you, but I had never seen it before. So if you all have seen it, Philadelphia, you were up on it and your mayor didn't know about it. I saw multiple videos that people sent to me, and one in particular that moved me. There was a gentleman who was shoveling, but it wasn't like I shovel when I was a child, or, you know, even the shovel I have at home. They were usually using what looked like an electric shovel. And it wasn't just their property. They were using an electric shovel, and they were like going up and down the sidewalk on their block. For those Philadelphians who have been fortunate enough to acquire that kind of instrument, an electric shovel, and they decided, listen, I have used to this very valuable tool, and it's not just about me and my house and my property, but I want to help my residents. That's a One Philly strategy. And so I learned that an electric shovel was a real thing, that people in Philadelphia use them, and that they use them to help residents on their block too. I'm gonna get one day. I'm gonna find out. But I at least I know they exist now, and I didn't know they existed before.
Before we, I just wanted to clarify something. I know we said, what did we learn from the last, but I just want this to be communicated clear. it sometimes implies that we didn't do what we were supposed to do. Is there any way you could touch on the last storm, the response was what a response happens. That was the response for that type of storm. So while there are things that we could improve on, there were things that were done that we stressed in our first press conference that were gonna happen, and they did happen. I think it needs to be stressed to the media that the last response was exactly how it was planned. Can't control how people feel about it, but our response was, if you can touch on things that were on par with the last storm. Does that make sense?
It is. I
don't
will.
wanna make
No, important. We'll let Don and then Director Williams respond.
I don't think our mayor and this administration has made light of the word emergency. And I think based on that question, that was a prolonged 25-day emergency with a period of cold we had not seen in 30 years. And so to the point of how the last response went, it was an emergency response. There is no magic widget. There is no piece of machinery. There is no way of dealing with snow that we have not researched, that we have not went out and procured, that we have not had the best folks who've been doing this for decades in the city of Philadelphia. And so to the point of the last storm, we're using a lot of those same techniques. And a lot of it really comes down to being strategic, which comes by being coordinated and doing a lot of hard work for as long as it takes. And without jinxing it, the temperatures look a little bit favorable, more favorable than last time. It will be a different storm. It will present different challenges, but that was an emergency. Tomorrow at 4 p.m., we enter another snow emergency. And so we will respond to that emergency and anything that comes with an emergency in the best way that we possibly can with all the lessons we've learned for as long as Philadelphia has been getting snowed on.
Thank you,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Yeah, I think it's important that we want to stress that these challenges were things that in the past we didn't address. And I've been here for 25 years. And I've been multiple storms, right? We went beyond Center City. We went to the neighborhoods. We cleared ramps that where people traditionally didn't have that access. We used every tool in the toolbox and assisted with not only city workers, but our team from Same Day Work and Pay. And we went out into neighborhoods and we cleared ramps that had never been cleared or touched before. But this storm demanded it because people couldn't get across the street. Wheelchairs couldn't get access to areas. And we saw the need. And so we adjusted and pivoted and made sure we delivered those services. We built in multiple partners around the city of Philadelphia, from PPA to DPP, Department of Public Property, the Parking Authority, and anyone else who was willing to live in a helping hand to be able to address it. And so I think those are the things that what we've done differently and what we're going to continue to do. We've raised the standard for what people expect to be able to get safe and accessible streets.
Director Williams, had you ever used the snow melter before?
We have used it barely one time in one area, and we have not used it since in about 30 years. And so we learned the tactic from the airport. Our airport uses it to clear runways as quickly as possible to melt the snow. That's why they can get planes back in action a day or two after the event has happened. And so you're going to utilize those same tools in our neighborhoods so that we can get our streets and walkways and roadways open just like they do down at the airport.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Director. Dr. Watlington, I love it. We get one, you said we get one day.
One day.
You get one card,
One
one
card,
snow day
one card.
card.
You gotta use it. Use it well. And use it wisely.
It reminds me of Monopoly.
Yeah, we have a handshake. Go up to it.
Fill them out, be on as soon as possible. Thank you, sir.